Hello, my friends. I am glad you are with me today. What are we going to do today? Well, we are going to learn about the Paleolithic age, otherwise known as the Paleolithic era. All right, you're going to be able to, by the time we're done, describe how Paleolithic people survived. All right. Okay, so to start this off, what I'd like you to do is think about the term Paleolithic. What do you think about when you hear the term Paleolithic era? Well, a period of time is an era. So we have to learn what Paleolithic means. So let's check this out. Before we start getting into it, what I first want to do is a little bit of contextualizing for you. Remember, that's where you take an event and you put it into its proper time and place. So the Paleolithic era starts in the time period of prehistory. So before we look at that, let's look at the timeline, okay? So it says, what is BCE? BCE stands for before the Common Era, which means it came before the year 1 CE, Common Era. Before this, people referred to BCE as just BC, which they believed stood for before Christ. And it was all of the time before the birth of Jesus, who Christians believe was the Son of God. CE used to be called AD, which was Anno Domini, or in the year of the Lord. So anything BCE today is before the Common Era, which starts at 0. All right, so the Paleolithic era, we're going to look at this end of the timeline. All right. In your workbook on page 2, this is right from there. It says the Paleolithic era, also known as the Old Stone Age. That's what Paleolithic means, Old Stone Age, is the time period from the evolution of human-like beings, which was about 2 million years ago, to around 9,000 BCE, when modern humans learned how to domesticate animals and crops. They began to farm. Modern day humans evolved around 250,000 BCE and then spread across the world looking for food. Now, during the Paleolithic era, humans did not live in permanent settlements. They didn't live in villages or towns or cities. In fact, they lived in very small groups, usually less than 100 people, and they lived what we call a nomadic lifestyle. Nomads are people who pack up and move from place to place when they're searching for food. They don't live in one place for very long, because they would run out of food resources. So then they would pack up and move to someplace else. This helps explain, by the way, why they traveled in groups of less than 100 people. If they had more than 100 people, that would mean there were too many people to sustain in any one place for a long time. All right, it says Paleolithic nomads were hunters and gatherers. This means that they gathered their food. The women would go gathering nuts and berries and vegetables, and the men were hunters. They would hunt and they would fish. All right, let's stop and do a little bit of review. We're not doing that. Okay, so on page 2, your first question is, when was the Paleolithic era? So I'd like you to stop the video and answer that question. Don't forget to come back to me, though, when you're ready to review. Welcome back, my friends. So let's look at question 1. When was the Paleolithic era? The Paleolithic era was the period of time from the beginning of humans, some 2 million years ago, BCE, to around 9,000 BCE. Okay. At 9,000 BCE, many of these people learned how to farm. So that entered a whole new period of human existence. All right, question 2. Why did humans spread around the world? Stop the video, answer the question, and then come back. Welcome back, my friends. Why did humans spread around the world? Hopefully you said something about them looking for food. As soon as they would run out of food resources in an area, they would pack up and move to someplace new. Okay, let's look at question 3. What are nomads? Right, again, answer the question and then come back to the video when you're ready to review. Welcome back, my friends. So what are nomads? Hopefully you have something similar to my answer. Remember, yours don't have to be exactly the same. So nomads are people who live in temporary shelters and they move from place to place. They don't settle in one place very long. Do you remember why they don't stay in one place very long? Because they would run out of what? That's right, they would run out of food. Last question, how did Paleolithic people get their food? Stop the video, answer the questions, and don't forget to come back. Welcome back, my friends. So how did Paleolithic people get their food? I hope you said something to this effect. Paleolithic people were hunters and gatherers, right? The men hunted and fished. The women did the gathering. Good. Nice job. Let's move on. All right, let's look at, there is a map on the top of page 3 in your workbook. And if you look at the dark arrows, find Africa. Okay, put your finger on Africa. That is where people originated. It says 7 million BCE. Okay, and from there, they spread out throughout the world. So keeping in mind the timeline that BCE, the numbers start out very large, and then as they get closer to 0, they get smaller and smaller, okay? So what I'd like you to do, down on the bottom there, it says, number 1, place the following regions and continents in order from the first place where humans lived to the last place where they settled. Okay, so I'll give you a hint to start. We all know that the first should go with which continent? Africa, right? Because Africa started 7 million years ago. Okay, 7 million BCE years ago. All right, I want you to stop the video and go through those continents and put them in chronological order. I found it easy right above the name of each to put the years, the timeline year for each of them. And that helped me put them in chronological order. So stop the video, do the activity, and then come back to review. All right, my friends, hopefully this is what you got. All right. We know that Africa was first because it's the oldest, 7 million BCE. Okay. Asia would be second because it is 1 million BCE. Oh, look, it's so important and it has 2 parentheses. 3 would be Europe. Why? Because this is 500,000 BCE. 4th would be Australia, and that would be 40,000 BCE. Notice these numbers are getting smaller, from 500,000 to 40,000. Then we go to North America at 11,000 BCE, so we went from 40 to 11. And then lastly to South America in 10,000 BCE. See, that wasn't that hard. Not really. All right, let's move on. Question number 2. What direction did humans have to travel to get from Asia to North America? So put your finger on Asia. You learned where Asia is, okay? And to get from Asia to North America, they had to go which direction? Stop the video and answer the question. Hey, use this handy little compass rose right there. Just don't forget to come back. All right, my friends. Humans had to go northeast, this direction, to get from Asia to North America. If you said just east, that's fine too. That would be perfectly acceptable. Okay, let's go to the last one here on this page. Number 3, why did humans leave Africa and travel to other places? We have already said this about 5 times so far. So I'll have you stop the video now and answer the question. Press play to review. Welcome back, my friends. Why did humans leave Africa and spread to other locations? I hope you said something similar to this. Humans left Africa and traveled to other places in search of food. That is what they did. All right. Let us stop here for the day. We're going to come back to this same video tomorrow and continue where we left off. All right. So stop the video now. Okay, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Welcome back, my friends. Today we're actually going to get into the notes. So I thought it would be a good idea to review some of the vocabulary that we worked on yesterday. Okay, so we are going to be starting on page 4 in your workbook. And it says to match each of the words on the left with the correct definition on the right. So you can go back in this video if you need to for review. And you probably should stop the video now to give yourself time to do the vocabulary review. Press play when you're done. All right, my friends, welcome back. What does hunting and gathering mean? What does that mean? Well, hopefully you said the definition is C, the act of getting one's food by killing wild animals and collecting wild fruit, vegetables, and nuts. If you did not get that answer, that's okay. Just change it. That way you can study. All right, our next term is nomadic. Let's see. Nomadic is D, the characteristic of moving from place to place, staying in one place temporarily. Why did they stay in places temporarily? They ran out of what? Right, food resources. So they had to pack up and move. All right, how about the term Paleolithic? We did this yesterday. Paleolithic, A, having to do with the Old Stone Age, the period from about 2 million BCE to around 10,000 BCE, characterized by the use of simple stone tools. Good job. All right, our last one, BCE. Well, it's the only one that's left, so okay, and the definition says it stands for before Common Era. And this represents all of the time before the birth of Jesus, so before 0. All right, that was a good job reviewing. Okay, now what we're going to do is start taking notes. So you need to have your workbook open on one half and this video playing on the other half of your screen. Okay, hopefully you've been doing that. So let's start with where do we begin? Okay, let's look at the term Homosapiens. It says that Homosapiens were the earliest human-like creatures, differing from other primates somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 years ago in Eastern and Southern Africa. So you want to put your notes, fill in those blanks on page 4. If you need to stop the video, do that. Just remember to press start when you want to review, or to continue, I should say. Migrating out of Africa. Between 70,000 and 100,000 years ago, Homo sapiens began migrating, moving from the African continent and populating parts of Europe and Asia. And again, migration was likely related to a depletion or running out of resources in their region, and also from competition for those resources from other groups. So remember, the out of Africa theory says that humans, modern humans, originated in Africa and from there spread all around the globe. So you can stop the video to finish filling in the notes on page 4. Otherwise, we can just continue. We're going to do a quick review. Okay, my friends, we are reviewing on page 5 what we've learned so far. All right. Oh, that shouldn't say who. I apologize. This should say when. When and where did Homo sapiens originate? When, not who. When and where did Homo sapiens originate? So stop the video and answer the question. Press play to review. Okay, my friends, we learned on the last page that Homo sapiens originated between 200,000 and 300,000 BCE, before the Common Era, in Eastern and Southern Africa. That was on the map on the last slide. All right. So if you didn't have that, make sure you add that to your answer. Don't just say in Africa. All right, number 2, give 2 reasons why early Homo sapiens began to migrate out of that location. So why did humans migrate out of Eastern and Southern Africa? Stop the video and answer the question. Press play to review. Welcome back, friends. Let's look at the 2 reasons why people migrated out of Africa. I said that early Homo sapiens migrated searching for food, that's one reason, and because of competition for resources. So they were competing with other groups, and there wasn't enough food resources for everyone. Okay, you can stop the video and fix your answer or add to your answer if you need to. If not, we're going to continue on. All right, let's look more at these early humans. Okay, it says the development of language around 50,000 years ago allowed people to make plans, solve problems, and organize effectively. Traveling in small groups, usually tribes or clans of related people, of fewer than 100, we talked about why. They made clothing out of animal skins, and they had already learned to make fire in order not just to keep warm, but to cook their food. Lastly, sophisticated weapons made of stone, such as spears and bows and arrows, allowed these early humans to kill large mammals more efficiently. Okay, you can stop the video here if you need to continue filling in your notes. We also have another quick review. Okay, my friends, let's look at the quick review at the bottom of page 5. Question 1 asks, what factor enabled early Homo sapiens to plan, organize, and solve problems? Stop the video here and answer the question. Press play to review. Okay, my friends, hopefully you wrote down that the development of language around 50,000 years ago allowed these early humans to make plans and solve problems. So, oral language was very important to early humans. All right, number 2. How large were the groups in which early Homo sapiens traveled? How large were those groups? I hope you know this one. So stop the video and answer the question. Press play to review. What did you say? How large were they? I hope you remembered. They traveled in small groups of around 100 or fewer. Why? Do you remember why they traveled in small groups? If you said because larger groups were too hard to feed, then you would be absolutely correct. Okay, let's go on and look at hunters and gatherers. Here we go. So I asked you on the last slide why they traveled in small groups. And here we are. They traveled in small groups because the food and other resources were limited. So there was a division of labor during these Paleolithic times. It's the women, here are some women, here are some women. The women did most of the gathering of food. They would gather berries and nuts and vegetables. They did the cooking. They did the child rearing. And men did much of the hunting. Okay, we know that these Paleolithic people lived in temporary homes in either caves like this one, or using the available material to make small shelters like this hut in this painting back here. Those were easy to pack up. There's another one in the background here. They were easy to pack up so that people could move on. All right, let's do another quick review, shall we? Yeah, we should. You're going to get sick of this question. All right, page 6. Number 1, quick review. Explain why early humans traveled in small groups. Stop the presentation, answer the question, and press play to review. I should think that you would know this answer now in your sleep. Okay, early humans had to travel in small groups because there were not enough food resources and other resources to feed larger groups. Good answer. Feel free to stop the video if you need to change your answer. Otherwise, let's look at question number 2. Question 2 says, explain the division of labor between Paleolithic men and women. So that's just a fancy way of saying this division of labor. What did Paleolithic women do? And what did Paleolithic men do? So you can stop the video, answer the question, and press play to review. All right, my friends, hopefully you said women were the gatherers. They are the ones who gathered the berries and nuts and vegetables. They did almost all of the cooking, and they were responsible for raising children. The men almost exclusively hunted. All right, you can stop the video to add to your answer, or we will continue. All right, our last question on page 6. Why did Paleolithic people build or stay in temporary homes? Okay, stop the video, type in a response in your workbook, and then press play to start. Welcome back, my friends. Why did Paleolithic people build or stay in temporary homes? Hopefully you said something along these lines, that they are nomadic, and once the resources ran out, they had to move in order to find food. Good job. All right, now we're going to take a look at technology. Okay, it says, technology and art at the same time, apparently. So, Paleolithic people used narrow stone blades and they made tools out of what was available. So, bone, ivory, and antlers. And look at the variety of tools that they made. It's pretty incredible. They made needles so that they could sew clothing out of animal fur. They made barbed harpoons for fishing. They made spears. They made bows and arrows. I also see here some scrapers that they could use to separate the animal fur from the rest of the animal. Okay, under art, It says Paleolithic people made cave paintings which told their story. It told what activities they did, and it showed things that were important to them, such as the animals that they hunted. They also created figurines. So these Paleolithic people definitely showed a desire to create beautiful things. They wanted their temporary cave homes to be pretty. They also showed an interest in fertility. This is one of the earliest representations of fertility. It's a woman, representation of a woman. Okay, so you want to stop the video to fill in the notes on page 6, the bottom of page 6. And then we are going to do the quick review on page 7. Welcome back, my friends. All right, now that we have gone over the review questions on page 7, we're just going to watch a short video called Paleolithic Times, 5 Things You Should Know. There are 5 questions on page 7 that go along with the video, so we will answer those as soon as we're done watching.
Smile and learn.
5 things you should know about the Paleolithic. The Paleolithic is the first period of prehistory. It's also the longest period of time in history. It begins with the appearance of human beings around 300,000 years ago in Africa. Paleolithic means old stone, and this explains the appearance of the first stone tools. During Paleolithic times, humans lived in tribes, small settlements of 20 or 30 people, dwelling huts or natural caves. They were nomads, meaning they didn't settle in the same place. They traveled from one area to another, looking for a location to fish, hunt, or collect food. In other words, they were hunters and collectors. Among their favorite foods were wild berries, deer, bisons, or even mammoths. During Paleolithic times, people held rituals to worship nature and ask for food abundance. That's right, they prayed to the sun and the rain. Another interesting aspect of their culture is that they buried their dead performing funeral rituals. Wow, it sounds like the earliest evidence of spiritual beliefs. Fire was discovered in Paleolithic times. No, that's not what I meant. It seems that the lightning from a thunderstorm accidentally started the first fire. Later on, men learned to make fire in 2 different ways, rubbing a stick against a tree trunk or 2 stones together. Fire was very important because it kept the people in the tribe warm during the night or in the wintertime. Also, thanks to the discovery of fire, they could now cook their food and enjoy eating tastier things. Art in Paleolithic times began 35,000 years ago. I'm sure you'll probably be wondering, was there such thing as a primitive museum? Not really. The first cave paintings were made on the walls and ceilings of the caves they lived in. Cave art was meant to decorate. They liked living in beautiful homes. Their paintings represented hunting scenes, like the one you can see in this picture. Isn't it incredible that their art still remains to this day? To make the paints, they used soil, blood, and plants. They painted using their fingers or paintbrushes. The first stone tools were made during the Paleolithic times. These tools were key to surviving because they made hunting and fishing easier and more effective. This was great because they could get more food. To make these tools, they shaped stones using another stone. Some of the first primitive tools were knives or arrowheads. As they were progressing, they started using materials like bones or wood to make needles or even harpoons. These first men continued progressing, becoming more and more intelligent and improving their lifestyle. The practice of agriculture and cattle raising marked the end of the Paleolithic times and the beginning of Neolithic times. These are the 5 things you should know about the Paleolithic times. Did you like learning about them?
Did you like the video? We have so many more. Subscribe by clicking on the seal. And if you want to keep...
You didn't need to listen to that. All right. Now that we have watched the video, let's take a look at the review questions on page 7. Okay. So the first question, what was so important about the Paleolithic age? You've got this video embedded in the presentation. So if you want, if you don't remember, you can stop the video, go back, watch the presentation, find the answer at the beginning, and then come back. All right, my friends, hopefully you remembered from the video or you actually went back to the video and found the answer. So the Paleolithic age or era was the first period of prehistory. Prehistory means it is the period of time when there were no written records. So it was the first period of prehistory, and it was also the longest period of time in history. Don't forget, you can stop the video to type your answer or fix it. Just press start again to continue. All right, question number 2. Describe how Paleolithic people lived. Okay. Stop the video, answer the question, press play to review. All right, my friends, welcome back. Your answer does not have to be exactly the same as mine. I said Paleolithic people used stone tools. They lived in small tribes, and that should actually be 20, not 200, my apologies, 20 to 30 people in huts or caves. They were nomadic, traveling from place to place, following food. They ate berries, deer, bison, and mammoths. And they had rituals to worship nature, and they buried their dead. Okay, if you need to, feel free to stop the video, add to your answer, and then press play to continue. Okay, let's look at number 3. Why was fire important to Paleolithic people? Right? I'd like you to stop the video and type your answer. Press play to review. Welcome back, my friends. So why was fire important to Paleolithic people? Well, we know that fire kept the people warm at night and in the winter, and fire allowed them to cook their food. Okay, so it was probably safe from bacteria, safer anyway, and better tasting. Okay, number 4. What type of art did Paleolithic people create? Stop the video, type your answer, press play to review. All right, my friends. We know that Paleolithic people made cave paintings as a form of art. They actually used them to decorate their homes, their caves. They wanted to show what their lives were like and what animals were important to them, as well as decorating. All right, number 5, what kind of tools did Paleolithic people create, and how did these help them? All right, you know the drill. Stop the video, type your response, plus press play to review. Welcome back. So let's talk about the kinds of tools these people made. All right, we know that they made knives and arrowheads, which definitely helped them with hunting. They made needles, which let them make their own clothing and fix wounds. They made harpoons, which allowed them to fish easier. So if you want to stop the video and add to your answer, that is perfectly fine. Just press play to continue. All right, my friends, now we're getting into using documents. So we are going to start on page 8. These are the types of questions that you're going to have to be able to answer on next year's Regents exam. So we're going to start practicing today, and we'll continue practicing this all year. So our first question on page 8 is, what sources might the artist who created this mural have used? So a more modern artist actually painted this. So where did they get their information from? I'd like you to stop the video, type a response, and then press play to review. Okay, my friends, let's see what you've got. Okay, I said that the artist may have actually examined real cave paintings and even excavation sites where archaeologists have dug to discover what life was like in these early Paleolithic settlements. Okay, by doing this, they could see what kinds of tools and resources and weapons Paleolithic people used, just like in that painting. Okay, number 2. How might this mural be useful evidence in determining the daily activities of Paleolithic people? Okay, we're using this source as a piece of evidence. So how could it be useful in determining the daily activities of Paleolithic people? Stop the video, type a response, and press play to review. Okay, my friends, welcome back. So again, your answer does not have to be exactly the same as mine. As long as you answer the question, then you're doing A-okay. So I said you could look at this mural to see what kind of activities Paleolithic women took part in every day. You see the women taking care of a child there. They are preparing food. She's pouring some kind of a liquid, probably water, into one of those bowls or jars. You can also see what the men were doing. There's a man in front of the hut there who is making bows and arrows. There are 2 men behind the hut, and they are with a child showing him probably how to hunt. So this does give us information about what people's lives were like during the Paleolithic era. All right. Lastly, what limitations are there with using this mural to determine what life was like during the Paleolithic era? If you remember when we were talking about reliability, and part of this is what we're looking at, limitations. How reliable is this painting? Okay, so think about that for a minute. Stop the video and type a response. Press play to review. All right, my friends. Now, again, your answer doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. I said it's limited because we don't know if the artists used actual primary sources. We don't know that they visited actual cave paintings or that they visited dig sites to see the actual tools and materials that were used to make their homes, to make their pottery. We don't know if archaeologists even interpreted the items that they found at these dig sites correctly. So the people painting murals might use incorrect interpretations of items that were found. These are all limitations. Okay. Again, you can stop to catch up in your workbook. Okay, we're going to move on to document 2, what hunters do for a living. Okay, question 2A asks, according to Richard Lee, who is the author, describe one characteristic of life for women during the Paleolithic era. All right, what I'd like you to do is read the document on page 9, what hunters do for a living. Okay, I will read it out loud for anyone who would like to listen. A woman gathers in one day enough food to feed her family for 3 days and spends her time resting in camp, visiting other camps, or entertaining visitors from other camps. For each day at home, routines such as cooking, nutcracking, collecting firewood, and fetching water occupy 1 to 3 hours of her time. This rhythm of steady work and steady leisure, fun time, is maintained throughout the year. The hunters tend to work more frequently than the women, but their schedule is uneven. It is not unusual for a man to hunt avidly, meaning with great interest, for a week and then do no hunting at all for 2 or 3 weeks. Since hunting is an unpredictable business and subject to magical control, at least that's what they believe, hunters sometimes experience a run of bad luck and stop hunting for a month or longer. During these periods, visiting, entertaining, and especially dancing are the primary activities of men. That's interesting. All right, what I'd like you to do is stop the video and answer question 2A. Describe one characteristic of life for women during the Paleolithic era. Please press play again to review. All right, welcome back, my friends. Okay, now I added more than one characteristic just because I figured I'd, show you kind of things you could have as a response. So I said Paleolithic women spent their days collecting nuts and berries, and then they cooked meals. They collected the firewood and the water. These are things that actually came from the document. Remember, when you're answering document questions, it's not asking you for outside information on this one, only from things in the document. Okay, let's look at question 2B. According to Lee, describe one characteristic of life for men during the Paleolithic era. Okay, so stop the video, answer the question, and then press play to review. All right, welcome back. Okay, again, I listed more than one characteristic only to show you a variety of things you could have typed. I said Paleolithic men had uneven schedules. If they needed meat, the men might be off hunting for a week at a time. And once they had enough meat, they might not hunt again for several weeks. Okay, you could have given other answers. You could have said that if they had bad luck hunting, they would stop for a month or longer and instead visited and entertained other people. Okay. You could have said, when not hunting, they danced. That was one of their favorite activities. All right. So these are two documents. Let's look at document 3. All right, document 3, identify the purpose for the creation of this cave painting. We are now on page 10 in your workbook. I would like you to stop the video and answer this question in your workbook. Press play to review. Okay, friends, what was the purpose? Okay, we talked about this a bunch of times so far, so it shouldn't be that hard. We said that the cave paintings were a form of decoration. They wanted their homes to look nice. It could also show what animals were important, animals that they hunted and used to survive. Okay, these are animals that they ate and used for clothing. Okay, you can stop the video and add to your answer. Okay, we are going to move on to document 4, tools from hunter-gatherer societies. Okay, on page 11 in your workbook, it says that hunter-gathering societies have used various types of stone as well as bone and antler to make a variety of tools such as scrapers, blades, arrows, spearheads, needles, fish hooks, and harpoons. The first blades on the left are from North Africa. The scraper on the right is made of green jasper, that's a type of stone, and was found in the South Central Sahara Desert. That's so cool. All right, question 4A asks, based on the images and descriptions, describe the technology used during the Paleolithic era. So I'd like you to stop the video, type a response, and then press play to review. Welcome back. All right. You were asked to describe the technology during the Paleolithic era. So I said they used simple tools made from stone, bone, and antlers. And they created all kinds of tools like scrapers, blades, arrows, spears, needles, fish hooks, and harpoons. Okay, you can add to your list if you like. All right. Document 4B. Is this a reliable source? So we're looking at that picture of the stone tools. Okay. It says, is this a reliable source to use to study the Paleolithic era? Why or why not? All right, I'd like you to stop the video to answer that question. Think about reliability. Okay, my friends, talking about reliability. I said that this picture is a reliable source to study the Paleolithic era because that's when those tools are from. Okay, they were made during that time by the actual people who lived at that time. So you can see what kind of materials they use, ignore that G there, and what kind of, how they use those tools on a daily basis. All right, so we're experiencing a huge storm right now here at school, and here I am stuck. All right, let's move on to the next document, the last one, document 5. All right, doors are slamming all over the building. Okay, it says, based on this mural, this is different from the earlier one we looked at, Describe 2 characteristics of life during the Paleolithic era. Okay, 2 characteristics of life. These are Paleolithic people. All right, so stop the video, type in a good response, and press play to begin. All right, welcome back, my friends. I'm still here during the storm. I'm not going anywhere. Okay, 2 characteristics. Remember, you don't have to have the same things as I have. All right, doesn't mean your answer is wrong. I said Paleolithic people traveled in small groups. You can see that small group in the mural in order to be able to feed everyone in the group. So that's one characteristic. I also said Paleolithic people traveled with very few possessions and made use of the resources they discovered on their journeys. So if you look at the people in the mural, they don't seem to have any heavy bags or types of luggage. I mean, they're traveling pretty light. And look, they've come across a very small stream of water, and one of the children is drinking from the stream. So they're making use of what's available to them. All right, you guys have now done a good job with those 5 documents. What I want to do now is our very first set of short answer questions. This is the SAQ, short answer questions. And this is exactly what you are going to see on the Regents exam. So let's look at document 1 because they only come in sets of 2. So this is our first set. Okay. It says, oh, we've seen this picture before. Good thing. It says, explain the historical circumstances that led to the historical development illustrated above. Well, I've got my mural below. So remember, historical circumstances means what was going on at that particular time in history. So see this picture here of these people, and I want you to explain what was going on during that time period. That would explain what those people are doing. Okay, historical circumstances. So I really do want you to stop the video and think and type a good response on page 13 in your workbook. Okay, press play to review. All right, welcome back, friends. Okay, this is my historical context. I said during the Paleolithic age, people lived in small groups and in temporary homes. The women collected berries and vegetables, cooked and took care of the children. The men spent days hunting. Okay? The only thing I really didn't have in here was the fact that they are nomadic. If you wrote about them being nomadic, that is awesome as well. So there you go. We talked about the historical circumstances. Okay, let's go to page 14 and look at document 2. All right, document 2 is asking, using document 2, explain the purpose of Paleolithic cave paintings. So asking you purpose is one of the things they will do on the Regents. So stop the video and answer that question, please. And then press play to review. All right, welcome back, my friends. You know the purpose. They wanted to make their homes nicer. They painted things that were important to them, like the animals that they hunted for food and the activities that they took part in every day. All right. Ooh, storm's still going on. Lights are flickering. Yikes. All right. So our second document, or our second question, says identify and explain a cause and effect relationship between the events, ideas, or historical developments illustrated in documents 1 and 2. So what we do is we look at both documents, okay? And luckily these are both pictures, so they're not that hard. And in the first one, you have a mural of daily life of Paleolithic people. And in the second document, you have a cave painting. All right, so I want you to think which of those could lead to the other. So Paleolithic life, did that lead to them making cave paintings? Or did cave paintings lead to Paleolithic life? Oh, I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but ooh, it's loud. All right, stop the video and answer the question, please. Press play to review. All right, my friends, we are going to look at the cause and effect question on the Regents exam. What I forgot to mention is usually right after this, it says, be sure to use examples, text evidence from the pictures. So you'll see in my answer, I included Doc 1 and, ooh, great, now everything appears, and Doc 2 down at the bottom. So I'll read you my response. I said, because Paleolithic people did not know how to farm, they lived nomadic lives, traveling in small groups, following food. That was kind of the main idea of document 1. When they found an area with more resources, they would settle there until the resources ran out. They lived in caves or small dwellings and often painted the walls of their caves to make them pretty and to show what their lives were like and what they ate. Okay, and then I put document 2. Okay, so hopefully you get an idea now of what the cause and effect question will be like on the short answer questions. Okay, so that is every piece. Oh, did you hear that thunder? That's everything we need to know about Paleolithic life. Okay, if you need to stop the video and go back and rewatch parts, feel free. That's why these videos are being made. Okay, so until next time, I will see ya.